Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, you know, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, you know, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Afridamus Report. I'm your host, Afridamus. If you're new here, make sure you like and subscribe to the video, or to the channel rather. And if you're watching, don't just watch, make sure you hit the like button because it is free. Today's topic is going to be about polygamy and polyandry. I know. Some of you are probably thinking, oh my God, what is Afridamus talking about? Does he even know about what he's talking about? Of course I do. Because, you know, if you guys notice, I don't talk about things that I don't know. And this here, this polygamy, polyandry, you know, the country that I reside in fact, polygamy is illegal in the United States of America. I mean, but you can get married and have, you know, your side pieces. You can have mistresses or your, you know, your boy toys. You know, that's perfectly legal. Oh, but I'm going to be speaking, you know, from anecdotal evidence, meaning I came from a society where polygamy is normal. Hey, welcome in the house, KS. I want to welcome all of you to the Afridamus Report. KS, I hope you have your popcorn and ready for this ride because it's going to be fun. So I'm inspired to talk about this topic because yesterday I came across people talking about something like this, and you know, I was like, okay, let me try to participate in this discussion and see where people are going with this, because many people like to sensationalize polygamy, polyandry, and you know, stuff like that. You see? And many Western women, especially, probably you've come in contact with people from societies such as in Africa. Hey, welcome in the house, St. James, from Africa, where, you know, this is a common thing. This is a normal day-to-day life. Okay? Me, myself, that's talking to you here. Hey, welcome in the house, Diego. My grandfather, you know, he had like 4 wives. My father, he had like, I believe, 2 wives. I had other relatives, neighbors. There are people who have 4 wives, you know, 25 children, you see. Oh, you know, 10 children, you name it. But today I am going to go deep into why people, you know, practice polygamy and where it came from. So polygamy is when a man has more than one wife, multiple wives. And polyandry is the opposite of polygamy, as you guys can see in the thumbnail, where a woman has 2 husbands. But where I come from, in that culture, that would be a complete abomination, because you see, over there, it's the patriarchy, meaning the man is in charge of the society there. So therefore, polygamy is what takes precedent. If a woman even there speaks of polyandry, that would be completely foreign. But I find it very interesting that in the Western world, especially America, because America is a Judeo-Christian country. Most people are raised in Christianity, and Christianity, forbids polygamy. Both polygamy and polyandry. I have seen here on TV where, Mormons who practice polygamy, I've seen where they've shown them and paraded them on TV, like it's a big crime, it's a felony. And I couldn't, I was like, wow, this is wild. Okay. But is polygamy for everyone? Is polygamy a good thing? Polyandry, what about polyandry? A woman having two men or several men. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is natural? Because yesterday I had a conversation with someone who was telling me that he wants to find a woman, and this woman, he doesn't mind her having sexual relation with other men, as long as he gets to pick, you know, the men that she sleeps with. And I find that very, very interesting, because that's a thing, it's a practice that people do in America. Yes, they cannot legally get married, but you would see maybe even a man who they would be married and they would be engaged in what they call swinging. They would meet with other people, like other couples, or they invite other women into their relationship and, swing with them. But now I have been hearing, a lot more people, especially Black people in America. There are some who want to go, to the polygamy route. This is why I want to discuss this. Is this a healthy, normal relationship for you to be a part of? That's what I'm going to be discussing here today. So let's start with polygamy, and I'll delve into um, polyandry. In Africa, for example, in the Senegambia region, if you guys know this, majority of the people there, they are Muslims. So I'm guessing the reason why it was easy to convince the people there to join Islam is because in Islam, polygamy is allowed, is accepted. In fact, they have rules laid out for you how to do it. And in this polygamy, according to Islam, you have to live in peace and harmony with your other fellow women that are participants of this polygamous relationship. So it's not really just an Islamic thing, it is an African culture. Because I notice, if you look through Africa, you would go to areas where they are not Muslims or Christians, they practice polygamy too. But I find it interesting that polygamy, majority of it, is the man is at the top and he has his women and the children. Like they would make tons of children. And I know this is gonna upset most African men, especially from Gambia area, who, they believe in polygamy. Um, I have seen the devastation of polygamy. It's definitely not for me. Okay, I just want to make that clear. This is for educational purpose. Um, but eventually, I'm gonna drop the link. For people who are in polygamous relationships or polyandry. Oh, if you are thinking about participating in this, but I want to give you a platform on what to go off of. So many a times in the African societies, especially that Senegambia region, the reason why people practice polygamy is different from the idea that people have here in America. Because in America, most of the time, because I listen to people that say, oh, we want to be about, we want to do the polygamy thing, blah, blah, blah. But when you listen to them, it's entirely based on sex. It's about sex, it's about people, being freaky. It's no different than people actually becoming swingers, because the reasons why people do it in other parts of the world is completely different, right? So you would have one man, he has wife and kids, but this man, most of the time, not all, but most of the time, he doesn't do anything. He has this wife and kids because he needs people to work in the farm. So back in the days before technology and all this, it he would get several wives so that he can have a big family, but the women and children would be working, doing the hard labor in the farm to feed the family while the man lives like a king. And also another reason why they do it in some of these communities, it is for status. When you have more than one wife, I would say some people have, when they have like four wives, it would elevate you. It would even give you the position of becoming a chief or a leader in the society. Because in those societies, I'll let you know right now. I'll let you know right now. In those societies, right? When, because for women not to be married is looked down upon. If you want to be a part of the society, if you want to be seen as a responsible, respected woman, you have to be married. Okay, so I'll come to all that, whether it's relevant now or not, but I'll come to that. So you would see one man would take on multiple wives, because if you are a young woman who reaches the age of being married and you don't have a husband, I mean, you pretty much, you're not respected, you're not seen as relevant. So you're just like, they're existing. You won't have the protection of a man, somebody providing. So the people have been conditioned to think that way. It's not like the Western world where the woman is like, oh, I'm independent, I'm this and that. It's a completely different ball game. But now, yes, Case, you're right. In the 21st century now, it's less and less as more women are getting educated. Um, they push back, from the polygamy lifestyle, but it still happens. Because when I was a kid, right, I remember, especially like people who, because some polygamous relationships are worse than others. I've known people who their family, where the father has four wives and over 25 children. I used to hang out with a guy growing up, right? I swear, like, you guys are not going to believe this. I don't think his dad even knew his name, because, like, I'll be hanging out with the guy. I mean, they all live in the same big compound. The father would be walking by I remember one time he called his dad. He was like, hey, dad. He was like, what's your name again? Which one are you? That's how crazy it is. I know some of you are gonna be like, nah, that's not possible. No, it's true. The guy had over 25 kids and he didn't do any work whatsoever. So it is the women that do all the work and provide, for the family. So that's why when you go to places like Gambia or Senegal, you would see some of these women, they are so hardworking. And you're wondering, are they married? Yes, they are married, but they are maybe the first, second, or third wife. Usually, the last wife is the endearment of the husband, but the first wife, by the time he reaches number 3, the first wife is no longer relevant. She has to be there just to provide, working and providing. So maybe back in the days, polygamy made sense in that region where they needed more people to work in a farm and it would give you advantage. But now in the 21st century, for instance, now I know people who I'm the same age as them, and some of these people grew up in these same polygamous situations. I remember they growing up, they weren't happy because they don't get the attention from the father. Imagine you have 4 kids, multiple children. You cannot share that attention to all of them. So I believe, not only believe, from my observation, the polygamous situation is what, you know, is continuing the cycle of poverty in those places. Because at this point, like I said, I'm not talking from, like, some people would come, they would act like, oh, I'm an expert in this. They, oh, because they read some books. No, I'm not talking about reading from a book or quoting you statistics, because that's easy. People can sit and intellectualize things. You can read all the books you want in the world. You can read all the books till the cows come home. But unless and until you've lived this life, you've seen it play out, you've seen the impact of it, you won't be able to tell. So, especially in people that are saying they want to participate in polygamy, just think about it. For example, if you have a father, let's say even in America, yes, the father, even if he's not married to your mother or married to you, but imagine if this father have, multiple children with multiple women. The child that you have, if you're like one woman, first of all, you're not going to get much much attention, if any. You and your child are not going to have any of that attention. So just flip that around, and say, okay, it was normal and it's legal to do. So that's what it is. So most people that are saying it's about immersing wealth, that's not what it's about. But now you have, like, let's say Africans, people that socialize in that environment. They were born in that environment. But in fact, they are impacted by it when they were growing up, right? You would think people would learn from it, from the disadvantages. The disadvantages are greater than the advantages. I can tell you that much. But knowing people who I grew up with, who when they were growing up, their fathers practiced extreme polygamy and they hated it. They hated it so much. But in that part of the world, children and women, do not have freedom of expression. You know that, right? There is no way a child would have a say in what I'm talking about here. Or a woman, if you dare try to talk about the pros and cons of polygamy, you will be in deep trouble. Yeah, you can talk about all the advantages and pretend to like it. And that doesn't mean that there isn't women that are not into this. Most women look forward to that. Most women would even, you know, find husbands, sorry, they would find wives for their husbands. And another thing that is crazy about the polygamous lifestyle, and some of you Western women have learned this by way of marrying people that came from that background. You are in the West, you're married to a guy because you grew up in a society where that word is an abomination, because you grew up in a society that, it's a Christian society. So Christianity doesn't accept that polygamy. And yes, Supergirl, you're absolutely right. Um, that's why I said is the over there the patriarchy is what rules. So all in all, polygamy benefits the man. It benefits the man. Okay, because when I think about the people who themselves went through that, they hated it. They had lots and lots of disadvantages. So when they come of age now they themselves are happy to practice polygamy. And I've had conversation with some people and I've asked them this question. I said, how can you justify practicing polygamy knowing exactly what you've been through? People, I want you to know this topic here. You know how when I talk about other topics, especially like yesterday's topic, how it make it makes other people mad because it's like, oh man, you're downgrading, you know, oh, black people, blah blah blah. It's the same thing for, especially for most Gambian men. Oh, they are going to hate this topic with passion. They will hate it with passion. So you're in the Western world. I've seen this happen many times. You're there, you're married to some guy who's from that part of the world. So you're like, oh yeah, I have a husband, we're in a regular marriage. This marriage is on paper. Life is good. The guy goes back and forth, because like KS said, the Quran, right? It said taking on multiple wives according to the Quran was relevant when war and disease was widespread. Turkey, in its modernization, banned polygamy, and they are majority Muslim. Right. So, but most people that are Muslims, especially these guys, that's the part of the scripture that they are only interested in learning. But they don't tell you the entire scripture, because the scripture, I went and read it. It said, yes, you can have multiple wives. This is the Muslim version of it. The Muslim version says, yes, you can have multiple wives, but there is a but there. The but is you have to love all of them equally, and you have to provide for all of them equally. So pretty much, in many words, when you read into it, you read into the interpretation, it is saying, yeah, sure, you can do it, but it is not encouraged. So pretty much the Quran is telling people, just stick with one wife, because we all know, how can you love all those wives equally? It's almost impossible, right? It's impossible. So this is why I say like for today, the people that I know is based in sex, because these people live in the West with their Western wife, and they go, they would go to, back to their country, wherever they're from, because it is acceptable for them not to tell you that they are marrying another wife. It is encouraged for them to tell you, but they don't have to tell you. They can just come and be like, oops, they'll be like, oh, I was just walking down the street. This woman, I bumped into her and, fell in love and married her. What can you do? Like in the Gambian society, there's, you the woman, if you try to complain, you would be the one that is looked at like you're crazy. I know. Most women are probably saying, what the? Absolutely. They would literally leave. So when they leave their maybe white wife or black wife in the West, who are born in this society, imagine they're not going to sit there and tell you, oh, I'm going to marry another woman. They're not going to say that to a Western wife, but they can just maybe go there and marry a wife. And you probably even, some of you have even met, you know, your husband's other wife, and they told you that that's their sister, because the wife and the husband both are going to agree to it. They'll probably tell you, oh, that's my sister. And you go along. But I've seen Western women too, white women, who accept that lifestyle. They participate in it. And, for whatever reason, it works out, you know, in their own sort of way. It works out. But it doesn't work out for the majority. Because even when the father dies, for example, I've talked about land situation here on this platform, especially with the repatriation, people that are saying they're repatriating, especially to Gambia. If you guys notice, one of the biggest problem that people encounter there, it is the land situation, because these lands are shared by multiple people. Because think about, if I have 25 children and I die, and all these children have a stake in whatever I have, it has to be distributed equally. So when one of them just go behind everyone's back and sell that land to you, that's how you eventually, when the other ones find out, they would come and be like, hey, you illegally purchased this land, because this land belongs to an entire family. Right now, as we speak, I see a lot of people who, at one time their family was intact. You have like one father, multiple wives. Now, those children, there's the siblings, they are enemies to one another. So, in many times, this polygamous thing is, you yourself, you're creating, you pretty much voluntarily, brought a bunch of people in the world together, you know, like enemies. You create like enmity between them, because it cannot be distributed fairly, right? But now that brings us to the Western world, the world that you, me, and everyone is familiar with. Let's see what NC said. Yes, I experienced this with a friend in Germany. He'll come over as his cousins in his other wife house. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Hey, Kwame, welcome. Positive vibes, welcome in the house. So people have been talking about, oh, they want to do polygamy. If you guys, there's a guy who popularized this on the internet few years ago. His name is Brother Polite. So Brother Polite had two black wives, and I've seen a couple of their videos, and they were talking about, oh, polygamy this, polygamy that. This is the way to go. And most black women, especially in the South, I heard they started even, embracing it. But when I listen to the reasons, especially here in America, once again, it has absolutely nothing to do with um, farming, because people in the city, they don't farm. It has nothing to do with that. But when you listen to people talk about it, it's entirely based in sex. I'm not talking about the Mormons. That's a whole different ball game. They operate like Muslims, you know. But even in Africa, like I said, it's not about Islam, because a lot of things, even us Africans, some of our cultures that are truly, truly like backwards or repressive, people don't understand that that is actually African culture. But people just pretend and say, oh, that's Islamic culture. Hey, Bantu Queen, welcome in the house. Like they would tell you, oh, it is Islam that said this. But no, in fact, you would find out it is African culture, because you could go to places like, like the Maasai land in Kenya, around Tanzania. You would find people, those groups of people, they practice polygamy too. And they don't belong to any religion. None of the Western religion. So it's entirely African culture. So a lot of people here in America, they are practicing the African culture. Let's see what Mimi said. I have one African American who said he's poly, and he have threesomes with them. I told him that's not how it's done in Africa. Yes, that's true. Again, yeah. So because, like I said, I was talking to a guy yesterday, which brought me to this. We talked about mostly polyandry, and he is okay with polyandry. I had extensive conversation with the individual, and polyandry is one woman having more than one husband. I don't know if I would call it husbands, but multiple guys that she is in this sexual relationship with. I saw a clip of it on TV before. They were showing this on TV like it's normal, right? So I asked this guy, how do you want to go about doing this polyandry? So he told me he would be the one picking the man that this woman would have sex with, because I was asking him question after question, series of questions, because I want to see where his mind is. But again, the guy just proved to me that he's just a freak, to be honest. His mind is entirely on sex. So I said, you do realize wherever sex is present between a man and a woman, I said, there's possibility a baby might pop up. I said, what if you marry somebody who accepts this lifestyle and you have a baby in this system? And I said, what would you do? Oh, you found out you are not the father. What would you do? He said, she's on her own. So, so that proves that this is not something that is going to work. So the women that are promoting it, there's no way they will be able to practice polyandry. There's no way. Yeah, you're right. Most Western women, not a lot of them are practicing polyandry, but not in an official manner. They are just called sluts. That's about it. And they have slut makers that they participate in, because they would have like multiple guys that they would sleep with. So it's nothing that is official. It's nothing that is official. I remember a guy named Brother Polite. The way he convinced these women to be able to get them to participate in polygamy. He promoted this idea that, oh, this is naturally the black culture. Hey, he's right about that. Like, this is natural, with the Africans there, a lot of, especially West Africa, people practice this. Some eventually became Christians and they don't participate in it. But he told these women that this is our natural culture. Men are supposed to have more than one wife. But there's no way you would be able to do this in a manner that would be satisfying to all participants in it. Because I'm telling you, coming from a society where the women are raised pretty much seeing their mothers, their fathers in polygamy, and still there's many who hate it. They don't want to participate in it because they've seen growing up in that system where, it's nothing but a bunch, a lot of hatred, by the way, a lot of hatred. And the other moms, for instance, because that's what they are called. Because if your father has more than one wife, even if the other wife didn't give birth to you, um, she will be considered your mom. I remember, for the longest time in my life growing up, right? I think when I was about, I want to say 10 or, no, I think 12 years old, 12 years old, because I lived my life, most of the time. It was me, my brothers and sisters, two sisters, and it was just us. It's kind of like your normal Western family that you would see. You have father, mother, and the children. But I think when I was about 12 years old, 12 years old, then I found out that actually my father had another family too, married to another family, had another wife. Eventually, that wife was brought, in our midst. We all have to live together. But I can assure you, it didn't last long. Like, the living didn't last long because my mother wasn't going for it at all. Even though she wasn't socialized in the Western system, even though her father had, four wives, but she just didn't go for it. And to be honest, like at the time, even though I was 12, that was very, very weird to me, because it's like you're living your life, you're 12, and then they brought somebody there like, oh, she's your mom too. I was like, nah, because like I wasn't really going for it. But in that society, you have to you have to go for it. There are many people that right now they have siblings that they grew up with in the same compound. Those siblings are their biggest enemies. You are tied to those people because of the father. But for me, to be quite honest, this is my rule of thumb. I didn't choose that lifestyle. You are the grown up. When you choose that lifestyle, you cannot make me participate in it. you know, because I look at it, it's like a job. You know, you working with people, you all met at a job, right? That's what I see a home for children. Because all the children, you didn't ask to be born, you didn't ask to be there. So it's a job you guys got there. You're living together, you don't have a choice, and they don't have a choice. So when you grow up and you're free, hey, you don't have to have a relationship with people you don't want to have relationship with. It's, you know, it's not a force, because I have seen how toxic those relationships become. It doesn't only affect the mother, it affects all the children that that are within that system. So this is why even the people, some of my friends are probably gonna watch this and hate it. They're gonna be like, man, why are you over there telling the secrets? Okay, bro, before you think it's a secret, you're fooling yourself. The whole world knows that this is happening. So before you complain, know that people know about this. They are even hyping it up. They want to participate in it. Before you leave your Western wife, in because I've seen how people, their marriages got destroyed. They live here in America having good marriage, good marriage. So the wife thinks they have house together, they have children, but secretly they go back there and get another wife, because polygamy benefits men. Polygamy benefits men. It doesn't, I don't see how it benefits women, to be honest. I really don't. I know some people say, oh, it's in the Bible, but that's in the Old Testament, not the New Testament. That's the Old Testament. So that completely debunks all that. So just as, this is why I'm bringing the two contrasts between polygamy and polyandry, where a woman wants to have two husbands. Two husbands. This is disaster. And one thing, any man that participate in that would be a baiter. No real man would accept that. For you to be the other husband, how do you think that's gonna go? Because in that situation, when the woman gets pregnant, let's say, and a child is born in that situation, who is going to be the father? Yes, KS, you're right. Polyandry, yeah, they practice that in Nepal, in the Himalayas. I did research on this, and when I saw it, it blew my mind. See, in Nepal, the polyandry is crazy. Like, when you're married to the woman, you know, this is what I found. You are not only married to just her, because how they run it, you're married to her mom and her sisters. So you can have sex with the woman's mother and her sisters. Can you believe that? So you're married to the entire family. You see? So in the Western world, because I've seen it especially amongst, white women, because usually in America it starts with the white woman, and then black people would take it on as well. So it's pretty much like a Maury Povich situation, where before the woman would just be called a slut, but now they are officializing it. They are officializing it. Let's see, Mimi said, no disrespect, but that's too much. Hey, Mimi, that's how they do it. over there. This, I knew, like a lot of people, this is going to blow their mind because, we live in a world where you would see people going by. Like when you conversate with certain people and you hear what they're saying, it's going to blow your mind. Even yesterday, the conversation I was having on African Millennials channel, there was a guy there. I wish he can come here and we continue the conversation, because this man made it clear. He said he doesn't trust women at all. He thinks women are his property, because his entire stake was he has the money, so therefore you, the woman, you are his property. But when you're married to him, you're not only married to him, this woman can have sex with other men, but he gets to pick the man. You see, he gets to pick the man. In fact, there's a popular guy, they call him a dating coach, Mr. Locario. He practices polyandry, him and his wife. They practice polyandry. His wife can go on dates with other men, and he can go on dates with other women, not just dates. People, just imagine that. Your wife, she goes out on dates, she got a little boyfriend. She's like, oh baby, oh honey, I'm about to go see Joe Blow. And then she goes and sees Joe Blow. They are on a date. She goes to Joe Blow's house, whatever they're doing. And, she comes and she starts kissing on you. And you don't know where her mouth has been. You don't know where her mouth has been. So pretty much what polyandry is, the woman becomes community property. Let's see. St. James said sexual predator. Exactly. That's the point I'm getting at. Because in the West, right, they give these things fancy names. They give it fancy names. And in the West, it's easier to hide things behind closed doors. But in places like Gambia, yes, people can try to hide it, but it is out in the open. You are seeing it. You're seeing the effects of this. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. Like, seeing polygamy growing up, I really hated it. I really did. And I think about it, and I'm not even a woman. Because I've seen how sad some of these women are. Imagine you getting married to somebody with multiple wives. So now you gotta work, not only feed him and the children, you gotta feed the other wives as well. You gotta feed the other wives. In the Western world, guys that want to practice polygamy, yes, it's not about the farming, but in the West, it's about sex, entirely about sex. I mean, just listen to the people that are into this lifestyle. Listen to the things they're saying. They're going to use fancy words to describe it, to make it sound beautiful to you. But if you truly, truly take the time, you think about it for a minute. Think about it for a minute, where you, the man or the woman, like your woman has to be community property. What would be the reason for a woman to want to be community property if it's not entirely about sex? Because in Nepal, the documentaries that I found and the readings that I've done, because I have to do that because I don't live in Nepal. I've never been to Nepal. And where I come from, I don't I don't know any woman that ever talk about polyandry. Um, but in America, I know people talk about it. I know that people first they used to call it cockhold, where a guy would go and find a guy to have sex with his wife or girlfriend. I used to work with a guy like that. He had a wife, white guy. He had a wife. So what this guy does, they are into that life, that lifestyle. And what he would do is he would approach guys and he would recruit them to have sex with his wife. So I work with this guy, you know, he was very friendly with me. And I was like, okay, this guy is cool. At the time, I didn't know this about him. So he was like, oh, hey, let's hang out, we'll go clubbing whatsoever, or go to the bar, hang out, or go somewhere. I said, sure. He said, I'll come over, me and my wife, we would go to the bar. And I remember on the day, this guy, he came to my place. It was a snowy day too. Like, I think a day prior, you guys know, if you like, when it snows a day prior, like a lot of snow and it sticks, it's really hard to drive in it. This guy showed up to my house in a Mustang GT. Who drives a Mustang in the snow? But that's what he did. He came with his wife. Then we rode in my car. So we went out, we hanging out, and this, his wife, she started drinking, and she got drunk, right? So we're driving back. In fact, he was the one driving, and I'm sitting in the back. So the woman she turned around, she was like telling her, she's like, oh John, you're right. Oh, he is so strong and muscular. I really like him. And I started it started feeling weird to me. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. What is going on? Like, I'm thinking this in my head, but I was like, it's just this crazy white woman. She's drunk. She's probably just talking. But she started talking more. I started finding out that, so he already, this is what the plan was. So he told her that, you know, she's going to be having sex with me. So the woman's like, oh, you're so right. You told me that when I see him, I would I would want to have sex with him. She's like, oh, I can't wait to have sex with you. I was like, huh? I was like, excuse me? She's like, oh, John didn't tell you? She's like, oh, it's my birthday, so you are my gift. I was like, okay, um, this is crazy. But he was the one driving. I made sure that I was like, let me just chill for a second here. I didn't say anything. We drove, we got to my place, and they wanted to use the bathroom. I told them, no, it is too late. You know, they cannot come inside. I said, but they are free to use the bushes, around my place. No problem. I said, he's like, oh, you don't mind? I said, no. Go for it. As long as it's not number two, it's snowy, it's gonna disappear. So you guys can only imagine how awkward that became. So now I found out about their weird lifestyle. So I had to avoid this guy at work completely, because how do you even have any more conversation with this individual who was trying to literally recruit you to have sex with his wife? But I thought about it. Eventually it came out. I learned something about these people. It was so weird, because when they were getting married, people, this is how weird this is. When they were getting married, I was invited to their little wedding party. I was there with other co-workers. I drove with a guy. This guy is African, by the way. When we got there, they seemed to know each other very well. So while we were there waiting, we were like in a restaurant, and needed the woman needed to go use the bathroom, right? So this guy, the African guy, was like, oh, I'll walk you to the bathroom. The woman is in her wedding dress and everything. So he takes her to the bathroom. He goes with her to the bathroom. And we were there waiting. Everyone were waiting. I mean, this bathroom break took forever, forever on the wedding day. On the wedding day. So learning about all that, and then eventually learning that there is tons of people in America who are into this, completely blew my mind. Eventually the guy, he got fired because, they told him, because he tried to solicit more people, and somebody eventually reported him, and the job just couldn't take it anymore. So they had to get rid of him. But now, if you're watching here and you're someone who is a polygamist, a polyandrist, or you're thinking about it, by all means, I would welcome you on the show for you to come here and share your experience with us. Let us know, why do you want to participate in this? Let me see some of this chat. You guys look, I see a lot of laughing emoji. Let me see. Mimi said, you met your match. Mimi, you're so funny. Let's see. Nice. Mr. Afridamus Report is called. No, Kes, imagine you work with somebody. Imagine this, right? So you think you're just hanging out with your coworker, and they pull that mess on you. You're like, wait a minute, what is going on? But if you're a woman, right? You're a woman. Your husband, boyfriend, whatever, wants you. I don't know if it's the woman's idea or not. Okay, if usually it's the woman's idea or the man's idea, but people are doing it. People are doing it. I have ran into people, I'm talking literally, out and about. One woman with two guys, and both of these guys are in a relationship with this woman. There's nothing better than that. Let's see. I said two spaces. What do you want from me? I said, I don't want anything from you, but whatever. So I think, especially now, they're talking about all this girl empowerment thing. Is this the next move? Is this the next move to legalize women practicing polyandry? Because I've heard other Black women justify polygamy. Gotta be honest, I looked around. I haven't seen much on Black women wanting to be part of the polyandry, but there's plenty of them that want to be a part of the polygamy situation because they said there's way more black women than men. So therefore, to be able to marry, for other black women to have a mate, they would have to share a man. What do you guys think about that? Let's see. Polygamy has benefits in traditional communities. Yes, in farming communities, probably does, but it also has lots and lots of disadvantages. This is not just from reading. I'm talking about what I have seen with my own eyes, the impacts of it. Because you have to ask yourself, do you truly want to create children in that situation? Like, think about what the future of those kids would look like. I mean, forget about you or the mother because you're not going to be around forever. So it's like you're forcing different groups of people to come together, whether they like it or not. Positive vibes, you're right. They call them baby mamas because they cannot marry them because of the laws and colonial laws. Well, the Mormons are doing it. So I'm going to drop the link here because I want this to be a discussion. This is why I didn't bring the, our usual video clips to help us, delve into these things. But preferably, especially, I would want women to call in today to discuss this because I want to hear your perspective on what do you think polygamy is all about? Because in the West, they make it sound precious. So let me know what you think. Let's see. She said, Bijou and her 50 children are so cute. Oh, are you talking about the Wakandan queen? I thought you seem like a troublemaker. You're pissing off the Wakandan queen. Don't tell me she's in a polygamous relationship. Let's see, Lani. Polygamy is all male ego. I think I agree with you on that, especially um, here in America, because what they call, because you have a lot of these guys that come online and pretend that they are enlightened, they want to be in charge of women, but this is all ego. This is all ego. They have issue with sexual deviancy, because yesterday this man that I was talking to, I mean, you guys should have heard what he was talking about. His entire stake is about sex, completely, entirely about sex. He wants to pick the guy that would have sex with the woman. So I told him, I said, all right, why even bother to engage in any type of relationship with a woman if that's what it's going to be about? You can just go get you a slut off the street because she's already in that business. She's working in that field, making money. So when she gets off her shift, you can participate in that. But the example I gave you about that uh, the guy that wanted to, wanted me to have sex with his wife. This guy, his whole game, I don't know what he had going on, because there are a lot of guys who are messed up in the head. They have mama issues that they need to overcome. So his entire thing was, He wants to watch. Yeah, he wants to watch people have sex with his wife. So it's not only him. Yesterday, another man, this time a black guy, he said he doesn't trust women. He believes that the women would cheat on him. So therefore, why would he put himself through this? Instead, he preferred to just be open and know that and be present when someone is having sex with her, and he wants to be the person that picks the woman. So I'm like, okay, after the sex, and then what? And then what? And if you look at what they call people that say, oh, we are the manosphere or blue pill, when you listen, red pill, whatever, when you listen to what they are saying, all the encouragement is about sexual interaction. This is why they want to participate in this. Let's see. Let's see. Bantu Queensland. He bought acres and acres and built them separate houses, but not too far from each other. Yeah, yeah. Bantu Queen. The way you describe it, that's exactly how the old school polygamists do it. Back in Gambia, they have big land and you build your houses. And to be quite honest, like those people, it is not based in sex, that's for sure. um it's like a tradition, a culture that been practiced for centuries, and it's normal. But what about the modern day African, the modern day Gambian, who's been to school, who's not looking to become a farmer, who is mostly westernized? What is their motivation? Because there is different motivations. Like I said, when you have multiple wives, it's prestigious in that society. It gives you clout, like people would say. You are the big man. Like you would have people who have multiple wives. Like for example, like I'm living here in America. Like these people, they don't have jobs. Like they would hit you up and say, "Oh, oh man, can you help me? Me and my wives and kids couldn't eat." My answer is always, "Oh, you didn't think about that before you got married and have these kids?" I'm like, dude, how can you justify this to a man who doesn't even have a single wife? So my excuse is always, I'm I'm also saving so I can have me one and a half wife. It always throws them off. They're like, one and a half, yeah. Because I'm trying to let them know how ridiculous they sound. Are you a Western woman who cannot wait to be the second wife or the third wife? Because you guys know there are women who are really into this. Some of you know these people. You hang around them. I've given you example of people that I know. All right. So let's see. Guys, give me a second here. Okay, that isotone space needed to be blocked because it looks like isotone space doesn't want to respect, the conversation we're having here. Some people, I think they have mental issues. Um, I actually timed ISA to space out, but I think I needed to block the individual, um, because this type of talk is not going to be tolerated here. Oh, thank you, Mimi. I probably missed what you when you wrote that, because you know um I want everyone to be, we are having genuine conversation over here. This is not about some crazy talk coming here using profanity, and that goes for anyone. If you don't want to participate in the genuine conversation we're having here, please, by all means, see yourself out the door. But don't come here and start using profanity, or thinking that you can get naughty here. That's not what this conversation is about. I understand why sometimes it's hard for people to be able to talk about things like this on YouTube, because you have people who are so immature that when you start talking about things like this, they start getting really, really dirty. So if you're a dirty individual, please, please go to another platform. This is the wrong platform for you, because if you do that, you would be kicked out. Oh, NC, I mean, what she wrote, I can't, or he or she, I can't even repeat it. That's how dirty it is. So we don't want to, and I don't want to encourage that over here. Let's see. The Afridamus Report, the so-called puppet master has arrived. Oh, this is Africa. Welcome in the house. Thank you. I actually saw, I mean, you guys know, the Wicked Witch of Malibu was talking about me again. I think, Cass, you're right. And Cass and whoever said, this woman, you know, I think she got me on her mind. Now, every day, her videos have been about me. Every single day. Apparently, I am controlled by, this is Africa. White people are controlling me. Apparently, it is white people that are controlling me. You guys know the Wicked Witch, right? The Wicked Witch of Malibu. Apparently, she's still talking about me. I talked about one topic, or what, like, I don't even remember. But now, all of a sudden, every single day, every single day, it's about me, you know. The funny thing is, she said, I am a girl with beard. Okay, fine. I'm a girl with beard. Can you like leave me alone? Apparently, I'm not relevant, but she cannot stop talking about me, you know? I mean, I don't know. She might be in a polyandry relationship. Maybe she's trying to get me to be the other husband or whatever. But please, can somebody let this witch know I am not interested? I don't like to participate in things like that. But let's get back on the topic here. So, in the Western world, polygamy is not going to work, as you guys know. It's no different that it is like having several baby mamas. And any of you that have had that, you guys know. Oh yeah, because the Afridamus, but she has bullied people off YouTube in the past, apparently. I'm not surprised. And she said, I already told you she's in love with you. She wants some of your six pack. Guys, don't encourage her, please. She's crazy. She she cannot stop talking about me. Mimi, you know who it is. Your best friend. Your best friend. That's who we're talking about. She cannot leave me alone. Every day, every single day is um Soninke warrior this, Soninke warrior that, you know. Oh, Soninke warrior's son is mixed. Okay, you've told the whole world. It's on my, you know, I'm people can see, I don't know what is wrong with that. Me, my child being mixed. I don't know, what the point is about that, but yeah, you've made your point. My son is mixed. Thank you. You've let people know. Can we move on now? But no, she has to keep talking about me. And, I don't mind it. At some point she will be tired. Okay, say you owe her a week. Yeah. Well, thanks. I think I'm going to have to go to the Korean store after this. Um, hopefully, by tomorrow, we can make sure we send her that wig. Hopefully, that would get me off the radar. But you look at it, brother, the guy that they call Brother Polite, the most popular polygamist among around, in America as of late before. So Brother Polite had him two black women flaunting around because YouTube streets, that was a big deal. People were into that. So he said, "Oh, I'm building with the two, you know, black women. They are pro-blacks. They are against white people because you guys realize even in this pro-black community, that's one thing they promote quite a bit. This um, this polygamy thing. Even Dr. Umar, let's see, NC, I'm mixed and proud of it. The world is mixed. That's right, NC. I mean, it's just it's super ridiculous, for her to think that that is an insult to me. Seriously, to say that, oh, uh, Afridamus's child is mixed, as if that's supposed to, you know, um, like that's an insult. No, that's not an insult. Okay, so she's just wasting her time. I guess she's jealous of how handsome my son is. Maybe that's what it is. But if you look at it, even the prince of Pan Africanism, in fact, he encourages polygamy because many black women, you don't even realize these pro blacks, they fluff your head and make you feel like, oh, you're the queen. We're going to be forming a kingdom. So you queens are gonna be the ones in charge of it. This is what Brother Polite was saying to these women. So when Brother Polite eventually became popular, he became more popular. He found himself in Hollywood and hanging out with Floyd Mayweather. Oh, he dropped those two women like a bad habit because like most of these guys, the pro blacks, if you notice, all the women that they deal with, they call them their wives. They tell everyone, oh, this is my wife, but they don't marry them. Because, like, for example, I listened to Dr. Umar, right? He said he wants to set up a training camp, pretty much a training camp to, train the women, train them uh, how to be good wives. Ask yourself, how can the Prince of Pan Africanism teach you about being a wife? How is that even possible? So they'll tell you common law wife, you're right. So, but this common law wife can be dropped easily. So, like I said, when Brother Polite became popular, he dropped those two wives like bad habit and took him, a white woman, a blonde white woman. So you look at it, that's two for one. It has to, two black women gotta be dropped for one white woman. Forget that this was the same guy, you know, bragging about that. Sorry, people. Give me a second here. Give me a second. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Business call. One of my employees was calling me, so sort of an emergency, but I'll handle that later. So let's see here. Mimi said, maybe Fang is in Afridamus' house. I told you these people have love. Mimi, you're so funny. Why would you wish such a thing on me? Why would you wish that upon me? No cares, none of that. But like we're saying, right? Brother Polite, he dropped the two women because, they were not legally married on the paper. So he all of a sudden stopped being pro black and he got him a white woman, you know. And then you have Dr. Umar himself, who he wants to encourage polygamy. And a lot of black women, they are going for it. Because I tell people, this is what I keep telling people. Do not always lay out your whatever you see as your problem or shortcoming. Don't always air out your laundry in public because the predators they are listening and they're gonna prey on it. So if your issue is always, oh, I don't, oh, we need men, blah blah blah. Oh, we gotta build the community. So he's gonna come and say the same thing. That's what the men say. We need to build the community. So the way to build the community is to go back to our African roots by practicing polygamy. But now let's look at, did polygamy help these societies? I'm not saying it's detrimental for everyone, but if it's 10, probably, maybe 3 gets good out of it. Usually the people with plenty of money can, seem to be pulling that off. Let's see. None of these men are not a black Bill Gates or black Donald Trump. They are financially broken. Hey, you can say that again, KS, because you have to remember these men, in fact, for the polygamy to work, they have to literally go to you, the woman that they are supposed to be quote unquote taken care of. You gotta send that money to the cash app. So, I think, you know, the next move, but he said this in 2015. So I'm guessing the polygamy boot camp has been canceled a long time ago, because since 2015 he forgot about that, because after his baby mama dragged him to court and and made him almost cry in front of the camera, the black queen fell from grace. Mimi said, I love my culture, but there are some certain things that I will not tap into. Yeah, Mimi, I'm glad that you're here actually, for this topic, because um like, especially like getting it from a Gambian woman's perspective. And I mean, as you guys can see, like me and Mimi, we're from the same culture, the same place. And she can confirm that there are some parts of the culture that are very, very toxic and is detrimental to the progress of the culture, because people like to say it is white supremacy. Okay, they like to say it is white supremacy, but we look at the things that are holding back the culture. Nobody gave that to that society. That's our own practices. Our own practices. Because I know guys right now, literally, right now, these guys, they are my age. And these guys, they already have like multiple wives, multiple children. Okay? Multiple children. I know guys who they have wives that are American wife, unsuspecting American wives, who don't know that these guys are in polygamous relationship. It's like they don't even know they are a participant in the polygamy relationship. So I guess technically the other polygamy, the wife they have in other place, will not count, will only count as a girlfriend, because legally they're only married to that one wife. And I'm not saying this to create problems, because you know how some women get crazy. They probably are married to a Gambian guy and they start saying, tell me the truth. Do you have another wife? Hey, that's not what I'm saying. But it is a possibility. It is a possibility. Okay? Don't, it's not something that is too far-fetched. Oh, you could be somebody, it could go the other way around. Is it possible the wife or girlfriend you have, she in fact have community property mindset, meaning, you know, she's open to business for the entire community? Or are you like the guy, Mr. Nice Guy, who wants you to become community property? Is that a possibility? What are the benefits? Because two on two, polyandry for sure. Polyandry is the opposite of polygamy. I don't see any benefit in that one other than pleasure. But you know what they say? Pleasure can hurt you sometimes. Exactly. More wives, more children, more problems. Because a lot of those people, they have those kids, especially like you go over there in Gambia, they would have plenty of kids. Those kids, they grow up in poverty. Some of them can't even go to school. I mean, I would say middle school, much more high school or thinking about college. They can barely, you know, feed them. These children and their mothers have to fend for themselves. So these are some of the most disadvantageous conditions that they find themselves in. So here in America, yeah, you might try to play that game, but it's easy for you to see for yourself. It's like having multiple baby mamas, because the Prince of Pan-Africanism said he's married, but not legally, because if you're pro-black, you can get away with it. You can say, I just don't want to follow the white man's way. So he has multiple women. So how much time, how much of your time will those women get? And you look in the opposite direction. You're a man, you're sitting there. Unless you are a baiter, your wife is like, oh, I have a date. Or your girlfriend, oh, I have a date. She's going to meet other people. And you are okay with that. Tell me what that feels like. If you're someone who participates in that, let us know what that feels like. Kwame said, I don't know how a woman can share her man or vice versa. Well, Kwame, if you missed it, yesterday there was a show I was on. This guy, he is actually open to this. And I have met somebody in real life that I used to work with, that this is his lifestyle. And that guy, not only is he into that, right? His wife was a fit, slender white woman. So he wants her to gain weight. He wants her to, because he's into big women. So he was buying her pizza all the time because she didn't cook pizza, hot dogs, like junk food, because he wants her to gain weight. And also the guy said something which was strange. He said his woman is his property. How do you feel about that? A man seeing you as his property. And he said the woman doesn't have a say. Let's see. America has welfare system to save these single mothers, both black and white. You're absolutely correct. Unfortunately, in Africa, they don't have the welfare system like that to save the women. Because, yeah, in America, the more kids you have, the more benefit they probably receive. So at the end of the day, I guess that's what benefit they have from that. Because they know that someone, aka the government, is going to step in and pick up the pieces. But in places like Gambia, that's not there. And it's also very normal in that society, because you guys know, even the president of that country, he has two wives. Two wives. I don't think polygamy is something that would help society. If you think I'm wrong, please drop your message and give me your reasons. It's a discussion. It is not, I'm not saying everything that I'm saying is signed in concrete, but I'm going off of what I've seen. I was able to compare people who all are married in the right way, meaning man, wife, and their children, how cohesive that relationship is versus having multiple wives, multiple girlfriends, and multiple kids from different people. Because there are some women who they might have like 8 kids with 9 baby daddies. I'm sure you guys have seen that. One woman, 8 kids, 9 baby daddies. I know some of you are going to be like, how is that possible? Do the math. 8 kids and this 9 baby daddies, meaning the simp that would step in to play daddy to those children. So usually when I see a man putting themselves in that situation, like yesterday I was asking that guy, I said, what is your relationship like with your parents? He said, oh, it was so. He said he grew up seeing his aunties and other old grown women in his family. Like he said, his aunties, they would cheat on their partners with different guys. He said they would even introduce him to the ones they're cheating with. So it sounds like he got traumatized from that. And also, he said he got dumped by his high school girlfriend. Mind you, this was in high school. But as the conversation went on, because I was trying to get to the root cause of the problem, because there are a lot of people that have, issues that they don't even know that this issue started way when they were children. Hey, welcome in the house, Jahari. They don't understand that it starts from there, from the time they were little. The things that you see, the things that you're exposed to, and eventually you start resenting those people. And how many people, you know, like there are tons of people who they have, they pretend to love their parents, right? Or they are scared of their parent, they resent their parent. But the same things that they resent their parents for, they would repeat themselves. Even though they don't want to, they would say, I don't ever want to do this, but they would do it. Looks like we have somebody in the house here. We have Supergirl. We'll invite Supergirl in and hear what she has to say. Welcome to the Afridamus Report, Supergirl. Have you been listening to the conversation?
Hi, Afridamus. I
Hi,
have. Can you hear me okay?
loud and clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good. I am so fascinated by this discussion. So I'd like to give you a little bit of background for context, and then I have a very legitimate question for you about all of this.
Go for it.
Um, so I so I am my parents are immigrants, Egyptian immigrants to the United States. I was born and raised here. They've been married for 45 years, and I personally am not married. I'm a Christian, follow biblical principles, and that's just a little bit of background. And, as I've heard people say, westernized folks like myself, in general, polygamy is a foreign concept to us, right?
Right.
Um, but I do know people who practice religions like Islam, and it's normal for them. It's very typical behavior. It's part of the Quran teachings. I get it.
Right.
So, in general, I do not agree with it. And as I said in the chat, it just seems like it only benefits the man. And as you shared your own personal story, I can't imagine being a 12-year-old and having essentially your world turned upside down with this whole new, way of living.
You can say that again.
Yeah, absolutely. And so my question is, I heard someone recently say that the idea of polygamy kind of stems from old biblical times because it was circumstantial, right? There
Right.
were less people on earth, and the men had to do what they had to do to procreate and increase the population. And so they were trying to validate polygamy based on old biblical times. And so my question to you is, what do you think about that, or how would you refute that argument?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying, because that's the Old Testament. So people that like to go by the biblical terms, as you know, the New Testament replaced the Old Testament, because the Old Testament is about the physical world. So the New Testament is, you know, written in the heart. So that erased, the past. So that behavior is no longer valid. Now it's a completely new, different era. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I agree with you. It makes sense. The other interesting thing I hear people say in trying to
Mhm.
justify this type of way of living is they actually say monogamy is unnatural. What are your thoughts on that?
Monogamy is not unnatural, because if you look at it, you know, a lot of people that talk about, you know, polygamy these days, when you pay attention, is based in pleasure, sexual gratification. But if if you if you kick back and ask yourself the question, if you want to have like a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage, because I'm assuming um you're from a monogamous family, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in your family, there's no confusion that, like along those lines, because all of you are the same mom and dad. You don't have like siblings that are not of your mother, right?
Right.
Okay. So translate that. Imagine yourself, right? With, finding yourself in a family situation where like your father had other multiple wives and 25 kids. Can you picture your life like that?
No, honestly, it sounds a bit chaotic to me. And so I completely empathize with your 12-year-old self, where it's just like, wait, what happened? We were living here as a family, and now there's additional half siblings and another woman that I'm supposed to call mom. This isn't my mom.
Right. It,
Yeah.
it is
So,
so it
right.
I'm trying to like paint that picture. It is a super weird situation. It is one thing when you are in the fallen state, meaning, it's all about the pleasure of the flesh. You lack that control, self-control, you're into sex and all that. But when you kick back, even around, if you're dating, multiple people, or trying to be a player, trust me, I know something about that. I'll get into that another time. That's a different show altogether. But there's usually a lot of chaos in that situation. But with that, right, that is a temporary situation that you can pull yourself out of. But imagine if that situation is a permanent one, where now you are tied to this situation by blood. Like you cannot pull yourself out of it just like that. Imagine how that would
Yeah.
drive you crazy.
No, I honestly can't even imagine it. And I will say, I heard bits and pieces of the conversation on African Millennials platform last night. And I think I saw that you commented in the chat that this guy must be trolling because it was unreal. His standpoint, the things he was saying, his so called beliefs, and the questions he was asking. I was like, it doesn't make sense. This guy just 2 days ago was saying that he's a jealous man and he can't imagine a woman being with somebody else. But now today he's saying he's open to the idea of sharing. So which one is it, sir?
So,
It was,
Supergirl, let me ask you this. You being a woman, since you've heard that guy's conversation, he said a woman is his property. Would you consider yourself a man's property?
absolutely not. um, Again, because I was born and raised here in the States, I can say that with all the confidence in the world. However, I will say if I was raised in Egypt, the mentality is different, right? I mean,
Right.
they're 300 years living in the past. And so perhaps if you asked me that question, my answer would be different. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen family members, they do what is supposed to happen. They go off to school, they get married, they start having babies. This is the natural cycle of that culture. That's what they do. And it is, I don't want to say normal, but it's more common than any of us would like to admit for the man to
Have you
essentially put his hand on a woman. And yeah,
have
go ahead.
you have you ever has polygamy ever enticed you, like um, to think about being in a polygamous situation, or polyandry, which aka
I
community
don't
property?
I don't share my Diet Coke, I don't share my salad, and I don't share my men.
Oh, okay.
That's my
So
answer.
so most
So no.
so most I mean, you're an American woman. So do you know any women who have this type of thinking, either being polyandrous or polygamous?
Me personally, I do not. It is quite a foreign concept to me, and one that's only familiar to me, honestly, on these YouTube streets. Yeah.
Interesting. So far, what you've heard, because I gave an example of the guy that I used to work with who came with his wife.
Mhm.
We were in the car, and eventually, when the wife got drunk, she revealed to me their goal there was she was brought in. I'm the birthday gift for her. Have you ever found yourself in a
Mhm.
situation like that?
I can't say that I have. And I will say in that example that you gave, that was you you were being objectified as a man. And so common we hear about women being objectified, but in
Mm-hmm.
that scenario it was you, and this couple, this married couple, was treating you essentially as a piece of meat or
Uh,
property in a way. And so
mhm.
I can't imagine what you were thinking.
Oh,
It's strange.
I was thinking, I was thinking, okay, this is weird. Like these people, are they serious right now?
Right. And were you new to America at the time, thinking, what the hell is this, America?
No, I wasn't new in America, but as you know, even when you live in a society, um, there are certain aspects of the society, especially things that have to do with what happens behind closed doors. You you know, if you're not from there, even if you're from there, you don't just easily know about them, you know, especially if you didn't
Right.
grow up around that until somebody actually present it to you. Then you're like, wait a minute, is this how American people live their lives? But I didn't generalize it because, like I said, I've been here for years prior before that happened. So, to be quite frank, he's the only freak I've ever run into like that in real life. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's the only freak I've run into until, I talked to the other freak, yesterday.
Oh,
Um, so, 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 like hearing me say this and you hearing that man, you know, saying the same thing. Now, like, what does it make you feel to know there are people that exist, around in this country that have this same thinking?
oh, well, I am shocked enough to call your show. I don't usually call shows. I'm
Hmm.
typically just in the chat. But this particular topic just kind of stirred my soul a little bit between the discussions that these guys were having on the panel the last couple of days. And then I don't know the whole story, but this Polly Bright person that you were talking about, what's his name?
Yesterday, the guy I spoke with,
No, there's another Brother
yes,
Polite. What
brother,
is his deal?
yes, brother Polite. At one time, he was the poster child for polygamy, but he eventually dropped the two black women for one white woman. But
Uh,
he was promoting, the polygamist lifestyle, and
oh,
um, and several of most pro blacks are really into the polygamist way of thinking because they want to protect the black queens by sleeping
well,
with them.
right. So then again, this topic is just, it seems to be hot off the press this week for whatever reason, because there was another discussion that was happening. I think you made reference to it, the dating guy who practices, they call it an open marriage essentially, where he dates other women and his wife
Mhm.
dates other men. And there was an interesting discussion happening between him and another man who's been married, I don't know, probably multiple decades, and is sure that his wife has never been with anybody else.
Antoine,
But he was,
Antoine.
yes,
Yes,
yeah,
but that
but he
man
was
was,
quite militant.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's my
think,
point in bringing it up. He was very militant, and so it was very kind of eye opening to see the two different extremes.
mhm.
And my takeaway from that is to meet in the middle. I mean, an open relationship and an open marriage, I personally can't see any good come out of that. But a healthy marriage, a healthy relationship is one where you enjoy each other's company. You know how they say you love the person, but you also like the person, meaning you enjoy spending time with them. You are also comfortable kind of doing your own thing, and there's no sort of jealousy or controlling behavior on anybody's part. I mean, to me, that's what it means to meet in the middle and have a healthy relationship versus
Hmm,
the other two extremes.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Supergirl, I have to say, you sound like a happy American woman. Let me ask you a couple of questions here. Supergirl,
Sure.
I mean, you sound happy, and uh, do you have long hair?
I'm sorry, I'll answer in a second. know why you're asking this.
Well, because I know women that have
I
long hair,
do.
they tend to be. No wonder you keep smiling. You kept laughing. That's right. Okay. So because
Well,
the reason why I'm asking is, when American women, when they start going angry, you know, um, they chop off their hair.
right. I've
So,
heard you make references about that in your last couple of videos.
well, that's
You're
good.
not wrong. You're not wrong.
So the good thing
And
is, so you're originally from Egypt, right?
yes, my parents are, and I was born and raised here, but Arabic is my first language.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
Okay. So Supergirl, you know that
Oh,
Egypt is the home of the pro-blacks, but in the pro-black world is called Kemet. Would you be open to being with one of our favorite pro-blacks because they are looking for an actual Egyptian? Because I think if we do a DNA test, you might have Kemet in you.
oh, wow. Yeah, so I had never heard it referred to as Kemet until recently, again, thanks to YouTube. Um, I personally do not typically agree with the black
Wait, 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 wait,
mentality.
wait, wait,
I
wait, wait,
don't think that's
we
a good
lost you
idea.
there. We lost you
Trying
there
to
for a
play
second.
matchmaker.
No, 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 no.
Oh, okay.
No, the Afridamus
I'm sorry. Um,
is not playing matchmaker because I want the pro blacks to hear that we have a Kemetian, original Kemetian. Just play along. We'll call it Kemet so that the pro blacks will be comfortable with this conversation. Just for conversation's sake, let's not call it Egypt because
yeah.
we don't want to confuse them. Um, we'll just go along with this
You're
Kemetian. You're a
I'll
Kemetian
go
woman.
along with you. You're trolling. Yeah. You're trolling on your own platform, but I'll go along with your trolling.
Oh, oh, no, 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 ma'am. I am not trolling here. I want the pro blacks. Are you familiar
Oh,
with the
okay.
Prince of Pan Africanism, Dr. Umar Johnson? If you've been watching
Yes.
the show,
Uh, I am, and I can't take him seriously at all.
well, okay, well, that destroyed my next question. Because I
What
was
were you
gonna,
gonna ask?
ask if you would be open to being one of the Kemetian queens for Dr. Umar, because I've already asked you. You have long
I
hair,
will
and
respectfully
and
decline. I will
wait.
respectfully
Sorry.
decline, and I'll tell you
W- w- w-
why. Because this is all. Oh, are you losing me?
you kept breaking up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Uh, Oh, okay. So I'm just going to respectfully decline for the prince of whatever he calls himself, Pan Africanism.
Hmm.
And I'll tell you, it's quite confusing to me because a lot of the narrative that comes out of these pro Black platforms is like, sure, they believe that Egypt is Kemet and there's Nubian and all of that stuff is supposed to be something sacred. But at the same time, I have had so many Black folk call me a white girl. So which one is it? I'm confused.
Yeah, no, because you white people invaded Egypt. You
See,
know,
okay, well, then I can't win, it seems.
well, you know, we're happy to have you on this platform. You know, you're always welcome to call into the Afridamus Report, and we'll be sure to, turn you into a little black queen pretty soon.
Amazing.
What
I'll
part of
change
America?
my name to Cleopatra.
There you go. Well,
Yeah.
Supergirl, thank you for coming
I
in. This was a good conversation. And do you have any last things you want to say um,
no,
before you go?
I think you were about to ask me what part of the United States I'm in. I'm on the
Yes,
West
yes.
Coast. I'll say that. Hmm.
Oh, you're in the
And
West
I
Coast.
would,
Okay.
yes, and I will say I really, really appreciate your content. I think you're clever and funny, and I enjoy hearing your analysis of different videos. I also like the way you handle the trolls. So keep up the good work. I will be watching.
By all means, our Comedian Queen.
Thanks, Afridamus. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. All right. That was Supergirl, the Comedian Queen, but she's going to be going by Cleopatra pretty soon. So let's see if we can have another call here. I mean, I encourage, the queens to call in. Is there a black queen in the house that is looking to call and have this conversation with Afridamus? Because you guys heard, I just uh, I just had a conversation with Supergirl. Oh, there we go. We have another call here. Welcome in the house. Who is this? KBM.
Well, I'm definitely not a queen. Thank God for that.
Oh,
But at least I married a queen,
oh,
a real African queen.
oh, welcome in the house.
So I don't mind bragging a little bit about that. But besides me, thank you for inviting.
Hey, no problem, no problem. So far, the conversation you've heard, what is your idea? Like did you hear me talk about polygamy and polyandry?
Well, I will admit that I wasn't prepared for the stream, even though I talked to you earlier and said I was. I was extremely tired and forgot all reality of time. But what I've heard so far, and what I would recommend, not just for Africans hearing this topic, but for anybody still with a very sane mind or a little bit of a sane mind, is when you hear people talking about this type of conversation, I'm talking about the people who want to engage in it, not the people who are trying to figure out how people tick, is to run away from these people as fast and as soon as you can, because it is something that this so-called lifestyle is very destructive,
I agree.
very, very destructive. There is
So,
no good. There's no good that comes out of it. Go ahead.
so, did you hear my conversation yesterday with Mr. Nice Guy?
I heard it off and on, yes, and I thought it was just it was very interesting in the sense that here is somebody again, and this is what Africans need to hear, especially over on the continent. They need to hear the Afridamus Report, even though this wasn't on the Afridamus Report. They need to hear the Afridamus Report, because anytime you're speaking to somebody and it's an uninterrupted dialogue, like it was last night on the other channel, you need to actually hear that in America, there are people like this who actually do exist, and there are a lot of them. So mispreconceptions about America or the West and everybody is with the sane mind is far from
KBM,
the truth.
KBM, I'm glad you made that point, because it's like you're reading my mind, and I think you have an understanding of why I'm having these conversations. Because on this platform, my conversation is not only catered to Western people, it's catered towards Africans, because there's a lot of misconception about America and the West from the
Right.
African point of view. They don't understand that, somebody like Mr. Nice Guy, they don't understand that, people like him exist. And, I don't have anything against him, but it is good to have that dialogue for Africans to understand what kind of, people exist, in America, and for Americans also to know what type of, culture or people exist in Africa where they are going. So
True.
usually people would think, oh, the Afridamus Report is here picking on us, dissing people, because this conversation I'm having here, I can assure you I'm going to get phone calls later or comments from people that are from where I come from. They're not going to like it because they would feel like, oh, you're just exposing things. But the conversation, we have to have this conversation so that we don't have freaks running amongst us.
May I say something based on what you just said?
Go for it.
So for the people who are going to call Afridamus later and are going to be upset with him for bringing these things up, you got to remember something. I was born and raised in the U.S. And the people, he's talking about the people running around coming to the Gambia. See, you got to understand that some of these people coming from the U.S. and other places to the Gambia, they want to bring this behavior, this irregular behavior to your country. They want to convert you into something, living a lifestyle that is not conducive to your environment. This is what they actually want to do. And while this is being exposed, they will call it, the people who want to bring this to your country, they will call that hate mongering or
Right.
something else. They'll call it hate mongering. And it's not. Because anytime you reveal the truth amongst people like that, especially in warning of your own people, of people like that, they get highly offended. But as long as you don't expose them, they're perfectly fine coming to your country and getting people who are not normally involved in such things to be involved in it.
Yeah, and KBM, I also, you being someone born and raised in America, you've heard me talk extensively, elaborating on American culture. And listening to me, that this person knows about American culture, right? So
Right.
So when I speak in terms of where I don't racialize things, I say American, whether black or white. Am I wrong in generalizing to show like a lot of the behaviors? It is not like saying it's black behavior, white behavior. It's like American behavior, because like this freakish thing I'm talking about, it's not like, I know lots of white Americans that participate in this type of lifestyle,
Very
but
true.
there is, a lot of blacks too that participate in it. Do you think I'll be wrong in my assessment?
You're not wrong at all, Afridamus. You're telling 100% facts. Everybody listening, this is the truth. Everybody back home, what he's saying is the truth. It's not just white people that involve themselves in this type of behavior. It's black people too, Americans. So no, you're correct. The generalization that you're talking about is absolutely spot on. I wouldn't stop for anybody's criticism of you saying, why are you speaking about us generally? Or why are you speaking about our group generally? If you're generally, as a group, whether it be American or a separate group, and you're involved in this, the majority, then the generalization is correct. It's not false.
And so far, what you've heard me describe the polygamy you know, the detriment that, you know, like the disadvantages that it has in places like, I gave example like Gambia.
Right.
Were you surprised to hear that?
No, not at all, because even though there's an agreement to some point where the women will agree to be married to the same man, there's still going to be some jealousy in between the different people within that relationship. It's no different than somebody over here, a man that's going to get 10 women pregnant and never marries a single one. There's still going to be jealousy between those 10 women because his resources are going to be limited to take care of the children between those women. And if those women ain't working, it's going to even be harder for him and for them. So no, what you said is very similar to what's going on over here. It's just that over here, it's not legalized polygamy.
Exactly. And what do you think about the pro-blacks? I mean, not all, but you know, some of the prominent ones that speak of polygamy would be the way to build the black community, sleeping with black women one at a time to build the community. We've heard our Prince of Pan-Africanism say that. What do you think about that that idea?
Well, one, it's self-centered, selfishness, and two, it's insanity, and three, that's not how you build a community, much less a nation. That's how you break it down. That's one of the ways you can break it down.
Hey, you couldn't have said it any better. That's what my thoughts were. But I'm glad you called into the show here.
You're welcome.
So we have a witch on YouTube streets that can leave me alone. Apparently, you are my handler. You're the one that's controlling me,
like a puppet master.
Like a puppet master. Have you heard? Or if you heard about? Are you aware of this?
I've heard of rumors. I've heard rumors. Yes, yes. Somebody with fangs. Yes, I've heard rumors.
Well, thank you for calling in. Do you have any last words before you leave us?
Peace to everybody, and have a good day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, that was KBM. Mimi, I dropped you the line, the line. Hit it and come have the conversation with me. Let me see what Jahari said. That was something that man said last night, that his woman will not work and they will do as he says because he's in control and they need to be disciplined and kept in order. Yes, he did say that. You are absolutely correct. And I know like some of the guys, when he said it, they were getting upset, but I don't get mad over what people say because the fact of the matter is they are thinking it. So you have to meet them halfway and have the conversation and hear what they have to say. But if you get mad and start losing control, you're going to miss out, where this is coming from. What is the psychology behind it? So that's what I was trying to get at, because he touched on the genesis of the problem, but then he ran into denying it completely, which is from him seeing his aunts cheating on their significant others, because he kept saying, oh, that really broke him down. But then when I said to him, did you resent that? Because you become like the people you resent, unless and until you forgive them. And you have to confront them and let them know, especially whether your mom or dad, if you resent them, whatever you resent them for, you have to forgive them for that, so that you can no longer have that in you, so that you can be free. It's for you, not for them. You don't have to get a response back. That's not what it's about. You don't have to get response. But I know many people are scared because if they feel like if they forgive their parent, the parent is gonna lose it. But don't worry about that. They would eventually come around and understand that that's not what it's about. It's about you being free so that you don't end up like that, like a freak. All right, we have Mimi in the house. I'll bring Mimi in. Welcome to the show, Mimi.
Hi, Afridamus. Thanks for having me.
Mimi, you were in there making fun of me.
I know you and Feng have like a love and hate relationship.
Oh my God! Please leave that witch over there, okay?
She's on the comments. She's on the comments listening to you right
Oh,
now. I'm pretty sure.
oh,
She just can't stay away from you.
of course
She
not.
needs to block you.
Huh?
I said she just have to block you so that she will be like have peace of mind from you.
She can't do it. She
She can,
cannot go.
there's something going on. I'm like, these people love each other. That this minute they're talking, next minute is like a love and hate relationship. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, Mimi, thanks for calling in. So, Mimi, you're from Gambia, just like me, right?
Yes,
And you're familiar with the polygamy aspect, and I
absolutely.
want to hear your take on it. Being a woman, from Gambia, because usually women cannot oppose polygamy, in Gambia, because the conversation gets shut down pretty quick,
Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah. So far, what you've heard, the things I've said. Do you have anything you want to add onto it or questions?
Okay, I'm gonna speak on the Gambian perspective, and then
Mhm.
maybe I'll dive in here because I live in America for a while now.
Yeah.
But
What part of
I'm
America
gonna,
you are?
I'm on the south. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna south
In
on
the
the
South?
south.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the thing. I come from a polygamy family, like my grandfather, not my dad though, or
Hmm.
my mom. My granddad have 4 wives, but what I see is he have 4 compounds like the same area, and that
Hmm.
all the wives live in their own house,
Hmm.
and us as grandkids we all grow up together, even though I'll stay at my grandparents house every now and then, but I'm at my parents house. So that's what I know, but it's not like what I see here. Like I said on your chat, I've met a guy here who said that he's poly, but his poly is having threesomes with a wife and a girlfriend. I'm like, you guys got it all wrong. That's not the way to do it.
Yeah,
If
because it's
yeah,
sexual.
that's like, yeah, you guys are just doing it because of the sex. But where I'm from, it's a
Mhm.
tradition, and we grow up as a family and as a community. That's what I know about it where I'm from. And
Right.
everybody is respected, especially like the first wife is respected. But I'm going to come to the toxic part because you mentioned about that. Yes, it could be really toxic. That man has to be a very strong man to be able to control everybody, because there's going to be jealousy,
Mhm.
not only with the wives, with the kids, with the grandkids. Because I mean, like, I love my cousins. I'm sorry. I love my cousins, but sometimes we have our differences. If
Right.
a fight come, my cousins we have the same grandma will come on the same side, and the other ones will come on the same, and the fight is like crazy. But then again, when we go to the streets, we all come together.
I trust me.
Yeah,
I know
there's
exactly
gonna
I
be
know exactly what you're saying. The beef, the
the big,
beef in the
yeah.
homes, and it's divided. Like everybody's on on their mama side.
Oh
But
my God.
when you go in the street, then you unite. But
Exactly. Like my grandfather used to travel a lot. He would go everywhere, and when he comes, he would bring stuff. It's like if he gave me the pink one, the other one would be like, "Oh, he likes you better. That's why you got the pink one. Why didn't I have this?" So it's so crazy. I mean, it's beautiful and crazy at the same time because it's like a big family, and when we having activities, it's really nice. And if
Right.
somebody have a baby, everybody will come together, put money together.
Mhm.
We will do it as family, and it's beautiful. But there's another side to it.
Yeah, especially for example, let's say, another side that I touched on, which is like when let's say the father or grandfather dies that have multiple wives and children, about the land disputes,
That's
that
another thing. Mm,
yeah, the land disputes, because if you look at it, even right now in the Gambian courts, there's many cases that are tied,
true.
in the court, because I I know somebody, family member, I'm not gonna mention, one of my my aunts, she just died like last week. And pretty much before, like, she just literally died, and other people are already bringing up the land situation,
Very unfortunate.
so I look at it, because now being an adult, you know I understand how toxic that is, because people want to promote to say, it's about love, right? But why are they the first thing they talk about is the land situation?
Very, very sad. I mean, like there's like you said, there's a lot of land situation dispute when it comes to, especially when the man die.
Hmm.
On my case, my grandfather have a will because he was educated. So
Hmm.
he made a will and make sure everybody is distributed equally. So my family, like my mom's side, we don't have that issue. But like you said, most people will follow the Islamic way in Gambia when a man died, and then it's like a man have two, women have one. Do
you
you understand
know
what I'm saying?
yeah,
They
like,
wouldn't do a will, they will just leave the caddy to make the distribution and all that stuff, and it could be really crazy.
yeah, because even me here, like, that same situation where, like where I'm part of a will situation, but really, it became toxic. um like, I mean, I pretty much, like, for me personally, like, I gave up on it, because the people are taking each other to the caddy, which you just mentioned just now. They're taking each other to the caddy. So me personally, like, it really, they can keep it. I'm good,
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't worth it.
yeah, they can keep it, because it's created so much hatred, among between people that I saw growing up, and we all was supposed to be family. But if you look at it, the people are fighting over piece of land. And I've had people call me to, how the Gambian thing go. They would like people that are from the same mom side, they would want to call each other to ban against the other ones,
Hmm.
But I just don't want to participate in that. And that all stems, because I see it, that all stems from the polygamy, because the people that are not from the same mother, the type of hatred that I see people sending each other's way,
Hmm.
it's completely blowing my mind. And you see that all around Gambia. It's not everybody, but it's pretty common. And the other topic about polyandry, which is one woman having multiple husbands, that, in Gambia, that would be a crazy thing.
Yeah,
have
we're
you
supposed to that
have
life.
you ever heard of the situation, just like I explained about the guy that was trying to recruit me for his wife. You said I met my match,
That's
but
met you crazy, but that night you met your match.
I know, right?
Yes. I mean,
Mhm.
I never seen or had anything like that when I was in Gambia till I came in America. That's when I
Mhm.
see stuff like that.
Right.
But to me, I'm like, I don't even think, I think they all sleep with each other. That's how I see it. I'm like, is it like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to discriminate anybody. Is it like bunch of gay people sleeping with each other? Because it's weird. You will see weird stuff here.
Right.
Like you will see a woman with two husbands, but maybe the two husbands are doing it to each other too. I don't know if that could be possible because nothing um surprised me here when it comes to America. You see anything out here in the streets. Not necessarily that is this people culture or that people culture. It's just some people, the weird people that want to do what they want to do. It's not nobody's culture here. It's just like you have people that want to do what they want to do.
Yeah, and another thing, Mimi, how does it feel like, okay, for example, like in Gambia, right, where we come from, let's say if something like this that is weird, um, people, we have, like, we have the right, we talk about it and we reject it, you know? We don't care who likes it or not. Like, people are not gonna go like, you're hateful whatsoever. So, like, how does it, because in America even things like that where it's entirely based in sex, right? But they would try to explain it to make it seem like it's something other than that. Like when you speak on it, they would say, oh no, you are hateful for that, you're not tolerant. Not only do they say you're not tolerant, they would even try to recruit you, which is like completely the opposite of our culture. Like, if you, like, I just gave the example of that freak that I used to work with who tried to get me into their weird lifestyle. um like, how do you handle that? Like,
To be honest, I don't want no parts of something like that. I am not going to encourage it, and I don't want
mhm,
to surround myself in anybody
mhm,
that is like that. Hey, I don't have no problem what you do to your in your house. That's your problem. It's not my problem. Like what people do to their house, I have no problem with it. It's your own choice. You are grown. Do what you want to do. Do what makes you happy, but don't bring it to me.
but
Don't.
like some of these lifestyles, right, in America, um let's say for example.
It's based on sex, like what you said, because
Mhm,
even the polygamy is like you have threesomes. You can
mhm,
only marry one person in America. There's no polygamy here. It's just like you want to introduce something to your bedroom. That's
mhm.
fine with you if that makes you happy. Hey, go for it. But it's not the traditional African polygamy that you. It's not based on sex. It's based
Uh,
on community, it's based on family. That's how I see it. So it's different. What I see here with what they call polygamy is totally different where I come from. Because I come from a polygamy family. Like my grandfather had four wives. And like I said, it's very respectful. He did what he feeds everybody in the house. And
oh,
make sure
so
everybody is like equally have their shares. And like he was an imam. So
yeah. Oh, okay.
he has
So
to
so
show example.
so Mimi, are you married?
Yeah.
So does your husband have another wife too?
No. I I
So
didn't I didn't
huh?
marry a
Huh?
guy. I married American.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. So, oh,
I was
you,
married, but I'm not married right now. So
oh, okay. I was gonna say, what if your husband just go to Gambia and find another, a second one for you?
no, he don't think like that.
Oh, okay, okay,
Listen to me. I mean, like I wouldn't marry anybody that I'm not compatible and doesn't think like the way I think.
right.
Not gonna
And
happen.
and hey, Mimi, since you're Gambian, you know how this conversation goes. What do you think? A lot of the Gambian men, how do you think they would react? when they see my video?
Some of them will come after you, be like, why you have to saying stuff like this, like putting us in a negative light. But hey, it's your opinion. You're not with it, you're not with it. I'm not with the polygamy stuff.
Right.
So it is what it is. Not everybody's gonna agree to it.
Yeah, because the fact of the matter is, like, there is more, you know, like in today's day and age that we are in, um, I see more con than pros to it, because, like I said, I know people that I was same age I grew up with. Some of these guys, they came from very toxic polygamous homes. I remember they didn't used to like it, but they themselves now, they are practicing it. Because Mimi, like a lot of Gambian guys, you know, who are, in their 30s. Do you think they live in the West? You think they're gonna be going to live in some village in Gambia and having a big farm? You
No,
and I know that's not gonna happen.
that's not gonna happen. That's the modern day polygamy. If
Yeah.
two wives are in for it, do what makes you happy. But I'm gonna say something about the polygamy that you point out. Like, you will have, what I don't agree is, I mean, people that will marry different wife in Africa, specifically Gambia,
Mm-hmm.
that they know that they cannot feed all these kids. That's selfish to me. I am not. I love my culture.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me who I am today. But there are certain things that I'm not gonna agree with.
Right,
You
right.
marry four wives,
Absolutely.
have 20 kids. You're not working. I mean, before, like you said, they used to be farmers. They
Mm-hmm.
have big land and all. Life wasn't so hard, so they provide everybody. It was easy. But growing up, that things are changing. You don't want to be a farmer.
Right.
You just want to go and sit on the bantaba, and then you're gonna have different wives. Those wives are gonna get up and go to the market and sell, and come and take care of their families. That's not fair.
Right.
I'm not into that one. I mean, like I said, where I'm from, like the type of family that my grandfather, what I see, he
Mm-hmm.
provides, and that's
Right.
the way it should be. Don't just go just because you have, like, just because you can do it doesn't mean that you have to do it. I don't
Yeah.
agree.
And what do you think about, for example, like, because there are Gambian men that who are married to like Western women, like white women or black women in America, but this woman would be in a polygamous relationship without knowing that they are part of one.
I don't agree to that, and that happens too. Like, you will have maybe married a white or lady or African American or whatever, and you already have a wife in Gambia or in Africa. Tell them if they don't want to be. Sometimes some people agree to it. Like you said, I see white people that are doing polygamy in Gambia. They know
Mm-hmm.
the husband have another wife. It is what it is. Let them know that you have another wife or you are open to have another wife. If they agree to it, then you guys can do it. If not, don't come and traumatize people's life like that.
Right, right. Because, I'm glad you used that word, because I know a woman who, she's black woman, nice, nice black woman. She's not like some of the crazy ones that I have done their videos on. She's great. But she married a Gambian who did that, and she found out, and you know they had a divorce, but um it was devastating to her.
It is devastating. Even
Yeah.
if you are not Gambian, and I mean, even if you are Gambian and you find out your husband have another wife and you know
Hmm.
nothing about it, that is disappointing.
Right.
That is disappointing. It will be so devastating. I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes. I don't want nobody to do that to me. So why would I agree or to that? Oh, it is what it is. No, it's not what it is. They have to agree to it.
So from from your understanding, is more and more Gambian women rejecting, the polygamous lifestyle, or they are still, I mean, I'm guessing you're more urban, just like me. We don't, and maybe in the villages, I'm sure it's still kind of like that. But from the women you interact with, because I can tell you're not into that, definitely not Aji. But so a lot of the Gambian women you interact with, are they open to the polygamous life, or not?
It's like I don't think they are open to it, but some of them they feel like, hey, it's an opportunity for me, and I like the guy. I'm just gonna go for it, because I have a couple of friends that are in a polygamy relationship, but it's not like they were open to it. It's just
Mhm.
that the guy approached them and marriage they get married. The guy had a wife and they eventually get married. So it wasn't like that she was open to polygamy. It's just like it happens along the way.
Right.
But I see it's still happening, and it's happening to urban women, urban Gambian women. But it's
Hmm.
not like you like it, but it is, hey, I'm a woman. You know how it is. I'm in my late age.
Hmm.
I have to get married. So I'm just gonna have to get in a polygamy marriage because that's what comes along my way.
Yeah,
But
that's how that's one of the, the reasons, even, in the villages, that's one of the reasons why they do it, because you know how the Gambian society is, for like a woman who is of age and she's not married, what the stigma is.
yeah, so I think most of the times that's the reason why people will maybe get themselves into polygamy. Because I mean, I don't know. I don't think I will be in a polygamy relationship. I cannot do it. The,
I don't blame you.
the fact that I will know that I'm sharing my man,
Hmm.
just cannot process it. So I don't think I will get myself into polygamy. I am an open person. Like when it comes to marriage, I'm married because I am compatible with that person, just not because I'm from the same place or anything. I have to be compatible with you. We have to see eye to eye. That's how I see my marriage, so that we can be a partner and, you know, be respectful. You have to respect me, and I understand that you're the man, and I will respect you equally. So that's how I see marriage.
Oh, you want
But
to answer this question before you go? Jahari said, do you think it's because people don't practice the traditional values of polygamy why it's mistaken in modern times? Because they make it so sensual and not about kingdom building or generational wealth. Yeah, yeah. What do you think about that? I think she pretty much uh, is talking about what we just said. Now people make it about, you know, um, about the physical, sexual, instead of building. I think that's what it is.
yeah,
But well, Mimi, thank you. And do you have any last words before we close out? Look at this, we are over 2 hours.
I mean, I think I've said everything that I needed to say. Thank you so much for having me. You know, I'm always on the comments laughing at your craziness. People have to understand you.
Huh?
That's what you guys need to understand Afridamus. If you understand him the way I do, y'all will never get mad.
Well,
I'm just
well, it's funny how some of these people, they just completely lose it. They're like, this guy is here, he's hating on us, he's this and that. I'm like, we're having a conversation, I
yeah.
mean, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying. You notice how they get mad and they disagree with me, right? But I don't get upset.
No, I
But
agree with you sometimes, but it's not that deep.
oh, I know, I've seen you, right?
You
You're
know,
like, no, today Afridamus is just talking crazy.
I disagree with him sometimes, but it's not that deep. People,
Exactly. I
you just
hope I, I hope
And
everyone have your attitude, you know.
yeah, I mean, people are different, but be nice, okay?
I'll be nice. And you know, please don't bring that witch's name up again.
Okay, I'm not gonna bring it again. I'm
Thank
not.
you, Mimi.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mimi. You know, it was great that she came here and gave her 2 cents on it. It looks like we've been here 2 hours and 40 minutes. In fact, I was planning on doing an hour, and then I have, you guys remember, I promised you the video from Kay. She did a third part, and this one was very, very interesting. You know, I mean, the guy lays in all the mystery that we've been trying to uncover, especially about the land situation. The Gambian guy Chacha lays it all out. But I'm gonna close out so that, in fact, I'm gonna try to come back again because this is the weekend. I'm gonna do 2 shows. Even though I went 2 hours plus, I'm gonna reserve the rest of the 2 hours for that show. I know that show, that's the type that makes the pro-blacks mad because they believe, oh, he's anti-black, he's here to divide. He loves white people, as if I'm supposed to hate white people. Oh, guys, again, speaking of, you guys are not going to believe who hates white people now, because apparently Afridamus loves white people. So therefore, anything Afridamus loves, they have to hate it now. You see? So you guys can do your own guess who hates white people now, because apparently Afridamus loves white people. And my thing is, you know, like some of these people that come there, like, oh, bet you love white people. If you don't love white people, you love no one, because you yourself said white people. It is people at the end. Okay? So how can you convince me that, you know, you are openly telling me you hate somebody based on their skin color? You know, you hate them based on that, but then you want to convince me that, oh no, you hate certain group of people but you love other people. Nah, that's not possible, because the moment you, because when you tell me you love me too, it's, I won't believe you, because the day you disagree with me, you know, you're gonna you know, hate me too, right? So that's why for me, I treat everyone equally. You know, I love all people, everyone, black, white, blue, green, it don't matter. I love people. Yeah, you can disagree with me, I can disagree with you, you know, but we move on, we agree to disagree. But if you have to hate me because of what I said, or because you hate certain group of people and I don't hate them, you know, that's definitely on you. But this is why I bring these topics in, because I want us to see eye to eye. Because if you look at it in mainstream media, these things that we talk about here, nobody's talking about this. They are not comfortable talking about this. The things they are saying is all scripted. So they are not really telling us the truth. So when I come here, this is why, if you notice, you go in my comment section, people get so ticked off. They want to tell me about, oh, did you know that you know, such and such was colonized, such and such. The topic was not even about that, but thanks for letting me know. You see? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to believe this. In fact, somebody told me, you guys remember the video I did here yesterday? The crazy woman who had issues with Nigerians. She's apparently she's a relationship expert. Someone told me this. I was like, huh? Relationship expert? And apparently I'm wrong when I said no man would want to be with her. Apparently, she had a quote unquote a man, but the man was snatched from her. I don't know if it's by Nigerian or Ghanaian, but somebody did that. So that explains her anger, you know, but still not justified. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining me, the topic was about polygamy and polyandry. I touched on it. I didn't do it like your regular what is it called? Your regular manosphere people, because a lot of these guys I listen to, they they talk about things, they throw stats at you, they use nice words. Hey, it's all fine and dandy. Have you ever like read books on how something works, instructions? I mean, you're reading it, you're an expert from reading it, but you've never done the task. The moment you try to give it a shot, you find out, man, the book just sounds good, but not really. I mean, like when I was in the 13th grade, some of you call it college, in some of my classes, you know, in the 13th grade, like some of the papers I would write, like one time I wrote this paper on the way of different ways of how people, raise their children. So we had to write like an 8-page research paper on that. But I noticed that they want to guide you, at the end, they force it to say the type of, family structure they encourage is the Western form of family. Fine, but the 8-page paper I wrote, you know, I didn't do it like most people. They would write papers just to get the grade. That's not what I did. I was genuine about it, because I went to the 13th grade, so that I want to know what is going on there at the 13th grade. And then I moved on to the 14th grade, But I wrote this paper. The professor, I realized the professor's mind was blown because I based it in real life. And the professor herself realized, yeah, she just reads about things. She doesn't know what she's talking about, because my arguments were way more concrete than what she's reading. Because the professor didn't even have any kids, wasn't married. It's all from reading. They've not been in other societies. They are just wrapped up in their office. When I wrote the paper, the professor told me, was like, I've never read anything like this. She said, you've made me question my entire education. I said, why is that? She's like, nobody has ever taught me this. I said, some of these things you don't no one can teach you this. You have to be battle tested. You have to witness them. You have to be there as a person yourself. You have to live it and understand, because people think, like, they will tell you, oh, I've been to the 13th grade, the 14th grade. I'm like, yeah, I said, I've been to the 13th grade too. What are you talking about? But now let's not talk about the 13th grade. Let's talk about actual education, because it's not only in one aspect, it's all around you. I'm not saying the 13th grade doesn't help. It certainly helps. Okay. It helps you understand some things. It helps you with career whatsoever. That's all fine and dandy. But beside that, you have to be curious about what is around you. So this is why some of you, even this topic, would be crazy to you. But believe you me, it's not crazy. Because if it's in existence, it is not crazy. We can pretend. I mean, that's fine. Some people can pretend that it's not there, but that doesn't mean it will go away. You know? But now that you heard about this, if somebody come up with their freaky idea to you, you know how to handle it. You say, hey, I've heard about this craziness at the Afridamus Report. You know, I don't need to engage this person. Oh, I engage them. You know, if you're one of them, it's all up to you. So that would bring us to the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. I really enjoyed you guys' company. Thank you for coming, and I hope you guys have a blessed one. I'm gonna go run some errands that I need to take care of, but I will be back again for round 2 for us to analyze this video, because hey, you guys know I don't have a secretary right here. Some of the things Afridamus have to go do it for himself. So that's what I'm about to do. Thank you, and I'll see you guys again.